Ruslan.
You know, I still live at home. I don't really have that many like bills or anything.
Okay.
So when it comes to like, you know, I have a good job, but when it comes to like making money from my music, there doesn't seem to be that sense of urgency for me.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me feels like it's like working against me. It kind of gives me an excuse to like slack off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because there's not a lot on the table. It's the best way of still being consistent and disciplined, even though it kind of like doesn't really matter if I make money from this immediately.
The dilemma that you're presenting is that when you have the time to go hard, you don't have the responsibility, you don't have the motivation, right? The responsibility becomes the motivation, which I think is something that you don't quite understand until you're on the other side of it. Like my motivation and my responsibilities make me go as hard as I go. So when people are like, yo, how are you able to do all this? And it's because I got tangible motivations like my son, my wife, a new baby on the way, financial goals we want to hit, other family members that are dependent on me. And so the only way I could explain it, and this helped me when I was younger, is think of the life you want to have 10 years from now. Think of where you want to be. Do you want to be married? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to, how many kids do you want to have? Where do you want to live? What size house do you want to have, right? And if you can really vision cast the life you want to have, right? And God willing, right? Because we don't know what tomorrow brings. But if you could really vision cast and write that out, write some of the things you desire out, right? You have to start making decisions that the future you is going to thank you for. So if the version of you from 10 years ago came and sat down with you and said, hey, listen, man, right now I'm still working a job. It's really difficult to break away to do beats because we just had our second baby. My wife got to work. I got to work. We got paid for childcare, bro. If you just go hard right now, our life could look mad different in 10 years from now, you know? And I want you to be thinking about that person, the version of you from 10 years from now. I had tangible examples of guys who failed. I had tangible examples of guys who had all the potential in the world, and I saw how their life was kind of trash, bro. You know what I'm saying? Their life was not lit. I saw it firsthand. And so to immerse yourself amongst people that had talent, had potential. Maybe they didn't have the access to technology we have. Maybe they didn't have the drive we have. Maybe they didn't have, I don't know, maybe they had undealt trauma that they didn't have a chance to deal with. They didn't get help. They didn't have community. They didn't have anybody to push them. They didn't have, right? Whatever it is, those people were I don't want to end up like you. Literally, that was what was driving me. I don't want to be you at 35. And so the 21-year-old me made better decisions at 21 to not become that version at 35. I'm not going to be reckless with my finances and jack up my credit and do a bunch of dumb stuff. I'm not going to be lazy. I'm not going to make music as a hobby. I'm going to figure out a way to monetize this and figure out a way to string together every possible option I have for revenue streams. And so because I had tangible examples of godly guys that were good mentors to me, but they weren't who I wanted to be at 35. I made better decisions at 21. And then by the time I got to 35, I'm the hero. You made it. You did something that none of us could ever do, right? And now it's with YouTube. So that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, man, I don't know who that is, but maybe one, dream about the person you want to be in 10 years from now, right? Do you want to be married? Do you want to have kids? Where do you want to live? What kind of house do you want to have? What kind of car do you want to drive, right? Like really write these things down. God willing, again, we don't know what life could throw at you tomorrow, right? Let alone 10 years from now. But let's just dream that. And then I want you to really evaluate and say what musicians around you that are 35 or 30 that you have access to, that you have loose relationship with, and ask yourself, what are things you don't want to be like them as, right? I'll give you an example. A lot of producers have to tour and travel, and they have to wear multiple hats, and that's very difficult when you got kids and you still got to tour and you still got to travel. I knew right away, I ain't finna be like you goofballs. I ain't finna be on the road 200 days a year. Not me. Right? And boom, so I got to figure out other revenue streams. I got to get this Patreon popping. I got to get this YouTube popping. I got to get this merch popping. I got to build these businesses. I got to build these courses. So you got to look at it from both sides. What's the negative reinforcement, and dream about the positive reinforcement. If you could get it from both sides like that and really, really think through these things in a way that most people your age aren't thinking about stuff, right? Because life, you should measure your life in decades, not in weeks and months, in decades, right? We overestimate, I forgot whose quote this is, but we overestimate how much we can get done in a year, and we underestimate how much can happen in a decade. You could be in a whole nother position in a decade from now. But yeah, man, that would be my advice. Shout out to Maddie. He said, a wise man, knowledge is learning from your own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others, right? Look at those people. I'm sure you have folks in your life that are talented or maybe more talented than you, and they're in that next season. They're in their 30s, but you know their life ain't lit. That doesn't mean they're bad people. It means they didn't have the fortitude and self-discipline to get to where you want to get to. Can you use that as motivation? Not to be a snob and to be a jerk, but just to internally say, I don't want to be like you. I'm going to do everything I can to not end up like you, right? And there was both sides, right? And the limited access I had to highly successful entrepreneurs was very limited, but the access of folks I didn't want to be like was very vast. So, and then I dreamed of what my life would look like. I knew, for example, that I didn't want my wife working a job when we had kids. That was a huge value of mine, right? So I had to be able to provide and earn an income that can suffice that. I saw other couples going through that. The dad staying at home or paying for childcare. I was like, no, never. No, this will not be my life. I refuse to have kids and have to have my wife work or whatever. And this isn't judgment. This is forgive me if I'm coming off judgy for those of you guys that have dual income families and you have to pay for childcare. Like I'm like, hear my heart. That's not what this is. We knew our values and we knew what we wanted. And one of those things was, yeah, we're not gonna have kids and pay somebody else to raise those kids. That's not how this is gonna work, right? We want to be present. We want to educate our kids ourselves. That comes with sacrifices, man. That comes with serious sacrifice. And they're not sacrifices you make in a month. That's year one and you'll see the reward of it in 5 years from now. So that is how I would approach it, bro. And again, guys, I'm really not trying to sound harsh and judgy. It's just, it's a longer process than most of us think. And the time you have right now, you're not gonna get back, bro. And I know it sounds, you're 20, 21, you're in your early 20s, it seems like you just got infinite amounts of times. All that goes away. And then time starts becoming your most valuable asset. And time becomes your most valuable commodity, not money, right? Not nothing else, time. And that's the part where you really start figuring out, whoa, and then friends around you start dying, right? It's just wild stuff. So you're like, holy smokes, like life is fragile. Tomorrow's not promised. Like, let me do my best to live the life that I want to build for me and my family and take care of people, man. And so hopefully this is helping. I would say dream about what you want your life to look like in 5, 10 years from now. Write those things down. Literally sit down, write those things down. Where are you living? Are you married? Are you single? Do you have kids? What is your relationship like with your wife? What is your lifestyle like? And then are there some people that you think about that are like, gosh, man, I love this brother. He's a good friend, but I can't be this person. I can't be this person when I'm 35. So what are you going to do at this age so you don't become that person, right? And that might be it's never going to be the same as having kids that depend on you for food. I can't give you a mind hack or how to feel that. You'll never feel that until you have kids. And then you have a baby and a baby looks at you and you're like, holy crap, right? This is a human that's dependent on me. Let me get my crap in order. I want you to get your crap in order before you're in that position, because it's way harder after you have kids. For me, I had Levi and everything changed. And I was like, I got to stop goofing around. Like, what am I doing for a job? Is my wife going to work? Like, all that ended when I had Levi. And 7 months after having Levi, I quit my job and went full time with music. You know, but that's because we were debt free. We didn't have any bills. We had $25,000 in the bank. We built it out in a way where we were able to make that transition. Very hopeful for you. Okay, hip hop, you're asking the right questions, bro. You're wildly talented. It seems like you have really good perspective, and I feel like you're gonna be fine. But yeah, the future you is depending on this version of you to make decisions to set you and your future family up. Your future kids. Our lives are going to be impacted by the type of decisions you make right now. And I want you to make decisions that set you up to win big. And you have those opportunities in front of you right now.
King's Dream Entertainment. Ruslan
Hey, thank you so much for making it through the end of this video. If you enjoyed it and maybe you're feeling inspired to jump into some YouTube creator content, maybe you're an expert in the field, I have a super dope course coming very soon. No, it's not a $5,000 or $1,000 mastermind course. It's gonna be extremely affordable. So that's on the way, but we want to give you guys a free training and PDF that's available right now. So be sure to opt into that in the description below or in the cards.